Imagine, for just a second, the digital tools you rely on every single day.
Right, the stuff we don't even think about anymore.
Exactly. The video calls that connect you to coworkers, family, friends, the passwords you type in to, access your bank or your email, your entire digital life.
It's all just woven in.
Yeah, and for a long time, we've had this really basic, comforting assumption, right? If we use a strong password and, I don't know, keep our software updated, we're relatively safe.
Which is starting to look pretty naive.
Very naive. Welcome to Calm Coding, your weekly podcast covering the latest news and stories. And today, we are looking at a stack of incredibly timely sources that all point to a massive fundamental shift in digital trust.
It really is a massive shift.
It genuinely feels like the ground is shifting right underneath our keyboards. Over this episode, we're going to explore a terrifying new zero-click bug, uncover why your password is, well, no longer enough to prove who you actually are, and figure out why your favorite football team is suddenly caring about your digital footprint.
It's a remarkable convergence, really. I mean, we're watching the traditional walls of cybersecurity being dismantled.
Yeah.
And not over years of slow decay, but in some cases, over mere hours.
Hours. It's crazy.
The entire foundational concept of how we verify identity, how we trust software, and how we secure our sensitive data is undergoing a total transformation.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with those tools we use every single day, specifically video calls.
Good place to start.
Because there was this critical vulnerability discovered in Zoom recently, and it completely upends how we think about the safety of just, being in a digital room.
Right, the annotation bug.
Yeah, this memory corruption bug tied to Zoom's proprietary annotation feature. That tool where you can draw or highlight on a shared screen during a meeting.
Oh yeah, everybody uses that.
Exactly. And the really scary part is the scope. It affected all operating systems. We are talking Windows, Mac, iPhone, Android, Linux.
Pretty much everything.
Everything. Basically, if you were running anything up to version 7.0.5, you were vulnerable. But I want to make sure we actually understand what's happening under the hood here.
Sure.
What exactly is a memory corruption bug in this context? Because it sounds super technical.
Right, so think of a computer's memory like a massive wall of post office boxes.
Okay, post office boxes.
Yeah. Each application gets a certain number of boxes to store its data while it's running. Memory corruption happens when a program accidentally or, maliciously writes data outside of its assigned boxes.
Like it spills over into someone else's box.
Exactly. It spills over into the adjacent ones. And when an attacker figures out how to force that spillover, they can essentially write their own malicious instructions into a part of the memory that the computer thinks is safe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the computer just blindly executes whatever's in that safe box.
Mm.
But to understand the true gravity of this specific Zoom bug, we have to look at the mechanism of the attack itself.
Which is the terrifying part.
Because what makes this vulnerability so uniquely dangerous is that it's a zero-click exploit.
Right, which means the victim doesn't have to do anything. Like 0 clicks.
Nothing at all.
Oh.
I mean, in the past, if an attacker wanted to compromise your device, they needed you to make a mistake.
Like clicking a sketchy email link.
Yes, or downloading a weird PDF or approving a fake login request. They needed you to be an active participant in your own breach.
But not here.
No, a zero-click exploit bypasses that human element entirely. It relies on how applications pre-process data.
Pre-process.
Yeah, so before your phone even rings or the Zoom window even opens on your screen, the application is already receiving data packets from the network and organizing them in the background.
Wait, really? Before I even see the call?
Yes. So a malicious actor could take over your device, steal your crypto wallets, deploy secondary malware, or silently turn on your camera and mic.
That is deeply unsettling.
It is. And they do it just by joining the same video call as you and sending a specifically malformed packet of data that triggers that memory spillover we just talked about.
And the user has no idea.
None. There weren't even any visual cues that a compromise was happening.
It's like a vampire that doesn't even need an invitation into your house, you know?
Yeah.
They just materialize right there in your living room.
That's a great way to put it.
Actually, based on what you're saying about pre-processing the data, it's worse. It's like the vampire slipped in through the microscopic cracks in your home's foundation while you were asleep,
Right.
entirely because your house's ventilation system automatically pulled the outside air in. The moment they cross the threshold of that Zoom call, they already have the keys to your device.
That is exactly what's happening.
But here's the part I'm really struggling with. Zoom is a massive global platform, right?
It's huge.
Their code, especially a proprietary protocol like the one used for that annotation feature, is closed source.
Right. It's not open to the public.
There's no public documentation explaining how their data is structured. So how on earth did someone find a flaw this deep, this well hidden, without having the source code to actually look at?
Well, what's fascinating here is the methodology behind the discovery.
Let me guess, it wasn't a bunch of guys in a basement?
Not at all. These vulnerabilities weren't found by a massive team of human engineers spending months manually reverse engineering the binary code.
Okay.
They were found by a security firm called Security, and they used publicly available AI frontier models.
Wait, publicly available?
Yeah, we're talking about models you've probably heard of, like GPT 5.6, Sol, and Claude Opus 5.
You're kidding.
No. The researchers used these AI agents to simulate real-world attacks through automated fuzzing.
Automated fuzzing, what does that mean?
Yes, so fuzzing is a technique where you basically throw thousands or millions of variations of garbage data at an application.
Just to see what happens.
Exactly, to see what causes it to crash or behave weirdly.
Yeah.
Now, historically, doing this on a closed-source protocol is incredibly tedious because you're flying blind.
Right, you're just guessing.
But these AI models, they can recognize patterns in the raw machine code at lightning speed.
Okay, so they fed it to the AI. How long did it take?
They gave the AI the objective, and within 24 hours, using fewer than 20 prompts,
Stop. 20 prompts.
the AI not only recognized the hidden memory corruption flaws, but it successfully wrote the custom code to build a working exploit.
20 prompts? That is absolutely wild. I mean, you can barely get an AI to give you a recipe for banana bread in 20 prompts without it telling you to, like, add a cup of glue.
It's true.
And this system is writing a highly complex zero-click exploit for a closed-source global communication platform.
The implications are staggering, largely because AI has fundamentally collapsed the timeline of cyber warfare.
I can imagine.
Historically, finding a vulnerability of this magnitude, a zero-click, cross-platform exploit in a major app, required a nation-state budget.
Like government-level stuff.
Right. It required elite teams of highly specialized hackers working in tandem for months, probing every single line of machine code.
And now?
Today, a single researcher, leveraging off-the-shelf AI, was able to develop a nation-state-level weapon in less than a day.
Wow.
And the industry is moving even faster than that. Companies are actively building specialized cyber AI models, trained specifically for these tasks.
Like purpose-built hacker AI?
Exactly. OpenAI recently announced Project Daybreak, featuring a model called GPT 5.6 Cyber.
Oh, boy.
And Anthropic has Project Glasswing, offering a model known as Mythos Preview.
Okay, and what do these do?
These models are reportedly capable of autonomously mapping out networks, identifying unpatched flaws, and exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities across major operating systems without any human intervention.
Which means the barrier to entry has essentially vanished.
Completely.
I mean, if the good guys are using these AI models to find and patch the bugs in a day, you know for a fact the bad guys are using the exact same tools.
Oh, absolutely. Or even strip down open source versions of them.
Just to find the holes first. It is a literal arms race running at the absolute speed of computation.
That's exactly what it is.
So, if you are listening to this right now, please take a second after the show to check your Zoom app immediately.
Very good advice.
Make absolutely sure it is updated past version 7.0.5. Do not let that invisible vampire into your living room.
No, definitely not. And, this rapid acceleration leads us to a much larger systemic realization.
Which is?
If AI can automate the discovery of software flaws this quickly, It means we can never fully rely on software being perfectly patched.
Right, because there's always a lag.
Exactly. No matter how good our defenses are, there will always be a window of vulnerability between the time an AI finds a flaw and the time a human developer patches it.
Because the moment a patch is released, the AI is already looking for the next crack in the foundation.
Precisely.
Which creates this fascinating pivot in how hackers are operating. I mean, if attackers know that software is a constant game of cat and mouse, they are realizing it's often way easier to just skip the software vulnerabilities entirely.
Don't bother, right?
Exactly. Why try to pick the lock when you can just steal the keys to the front door? And those keys are our digital identities. Here's where it gets really interesting.
It does.
The UK Cybersecurity Breaches Survey 2025 just came out, and it highlighted a mind-blowing statistic.
Oh, the phishing number.
Yes. 85% of businesses that suffered a breach fell victim to phishing. 85%.
It's just staggering.
It's not some highly sophisticated AI breaking through a firewall with a zero-day exploit. It's an employee handing over their username and password because an email looked convincingly like it came from their boss.
And that's all it takes.
Once a hacker gets legitimate credentials, they don't have to hack anything. They just walk right in, completely bypassing all those expensive software security parameters.
That statistic perfectly illustrates the core failure of our current security paradigm.
How so?
Well, the traditional view of cybersecurity treats authentication as a one-time event. It's a snapshot.
Like showing your ID at the door.
Yes. You approach the digital gate, you present your password, perhaps you even provide a multi-factor authentication code from an app on your phone, and the system says, yes, you have the right tokens, come on in.
Right. You're verified.
But once you are inside the network, that trust has historically been unconditional. The system assumes that because you passed that initial check at 9:00 a.m., every single action you take for the rest of the day is legitimate.
Which is crazy when you think about it.
It's often called the castle and moat approach. Once you cross the moat, you just have the run of the castle.
But when credentials are so easily stolen, traded on the dark web or harvested through phishing, that moat is essentially completely dry.
Exactly the problem. Trust can no longer begin and end at login.
So what's the alternative?
Well, this is driving the entire cybersecurity industry toward the concept of continuous trust and zero trust models.
Zero trust. Sounds intense.
The core philosophy of zero trust is never trust, always verify. It assumes that the network is already compromised.
Always verify. Okay, but I have to push back on behalf of everyone listening who just wants to get their job done.
I get that a lot.
Because what does that look like practically? Does a zero trust system ask me for my password and a fingerprint scan every 5 minutes while I'm trying to work?
No,
Because that sounds like an absolute nightmare for productivity. I can't imagine trying to finish a spreadsheet and having to scan my retina just to click save.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the goal is actually the exact opposite of interrupting your workflow.
Okay, I'm listening.
Continuous trust isn't about repeatedly bothering you for more passwords. It's about implementing deep behavioral intelligence invisibly behind the scenes.
Invisible biometrics.
Yes. Machine learning algorithms are now being deployed to learn your unique digital fingerprint. And I don't just mean a scan of your physical thumb.
What do you mean then?
I mean the highly specific, nuanced patterns of your daily activity. The system learns the microscopic details of how you work.
Like what, exactly? How granular does it actually get?
Incredibly granular. It tracks what specific folders you typically open, the exact hours you log in, the geographic locations you connect from.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it goes even deeper.
Huh.
It monitors your keystroke dynamics, the specific millisecond delay between how you type the letter A and the letter T.
Wait, really?
Yes. It analyzes your mouse movements, the speed at which you scroll, your standard application workflows. You leave a massive trail of behavioral data with every single physical interaction with your device.
Wow. So the cadence of my typing is basically becoming my new password.
Precisely.
That is wild.
So if an attacker manages to steal your password, bypass your multi-factor authentication, and log in successfully, they might be inside the network. But the moment they start acting out of character, say, they attempt to download a massive customer database you've never accessed before.
Because they're a hacker looking for data.
Right. Or their typing speed doesn't match your historical profile. Or they are moving through directories at superhuman speeds. The system instantly detects the anomaly.
And what does it do?
It immediately drops their trust level and restricts their access even though they use the correct password to get in.
That makes so much sense. It's like if I gave someone the physical keys to my car, the car starts because the key is correct.
Sure.
But if that person immediately shifts into gear and tries to drive the car straight into a lake, the car's onboard computer recognizes, wait a minute, my owner never drives into lakes, and forcefully hits the brakes.
That's a brilliant analogy. Yes.
So for everyone listening, think about your own hyper-specific daily routines and digital habits. Do you always check your email at 8:15 a.m. while having your coffee? Do you only ever access the marketing folders and never the HR files? Those quirks, those deeply ingrained habits that make you you, rather than a complex string of special characters in a password.
Are becoming your real security.
Exactly. They are fast becoming your absolute best defense against hackers.
It's a profound shift from relying on what you know your password to relying on how you behave.
Which is much harder to steal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It treats identity as a dynamic living system rather than a static credential stored on some server somewhere.
And because attackers are trying to blend in.
Right. Attackers who use stolen credentials are usually trying to lay low. But this behavioral analysis provides a layer of scrutiny that is incredibly difficult to fake.
You can't fake someone's mouse scroll speed.
Exactly. You can steal a password easily,
Yeah.
but you cannot easily replicate the nuanced, microscopic, physical, and digital habits of another human being.
And this shift, this move from static office-based security to holistic, continuous protection,
Yeah.
it isn't just staying confined to corporate IT departments.
No, it's everywhere now.
We aren't just talking about securing office networks anymore. It is bleeding out into our everyday leisure activities, which brings us to the final piece of our puzzle today.
The sports partnerships.
Yes. This concept of securing individual identities in crowded places is hitting the mainstream in a way I don't think anyone really predicted a few years ago. We are seeing cybersecurity step out of the server room and onto the football pitch.
Quite literally.
NordVPN has officially become the official digital security partner of Aston Villa, the Premier League football club.
It's a huge deal.
Right. Just set the scene for a moment. You have tens of thousands of passionate fans packed into Villa Park on a Saturday afternoon. Everyone is pulling out their phones, connecting to a public stadium Wi-Fi network.
To check scores, post videos.
Exactly, to check live scores from other games, upload videos to social media, or message their friends. From a security standpoint, a massive public Wi-Fi network like that is an absolute goldmine for anyone wanting to snoop on unsecured data. Right?
Oh, it is a highly vulnerable environment, yes.
I mean, I would never check my bank on stadium Wi-Fi.
Good, you shouldn't. Public Wi-Fi networks in high-density areas are prime targets for packet sniffing and man-in-the-middle attacks.
Man in the middle.
Yeah. When you connect to Wi-Fi, your device is essentially shouting data over unencrypted radio waves.
Just broadcasting it.
Right. Anyone with a digital antenna and the right software can simply pluck those waves out of the air and listen to the data you're sending.
That's creepy.
Or an attacker can set up a rogue router that mimics the stadium's network. Your phone connects to the attacker's router instead, and suddenly they are the middleman.
Intercepting everything.
Exactly. Intercepting every password, message, and photo flowing between your device and the internet.
So the risk is very real.
Very real. But we really have to look at the broader context of this Aston Villa deal. This isn't just a one-off marketing stunt by a single company.
No.
No. It represents a massive calculated trend of virtual private networks and cybersecurity brands integrating themselves directly into daily consumer life.
Because it's not just Aston Villa, is it?
No, not at all. NordVPN recently teamed up with the entire National League in the UK to boost cyber resilience across 72 different local clubs.
72 clubs?
Yes. And they partnered with major financial platforms like Klarna. They're integrated into MasterCard's lifestyle perks. And this is wild, they even partnered with Marvel.
Wait, Marvel, like the Avengers?
Yes. To release an educational digital comic book about online safety featuring the Avengers.
Okay, that is unexpected.
And their rivals are making equally aggressive moves in the sporting world. ExpressVPN just became the official partner of Tottenham Hotspur.
Wow.
And even more significantly, they were named an official supporter of the massive FIFA World Cup 2026.
Which, by the way, caused a massive uproar.
It really did.
I saw that the ExpressVPN World Cup deal actually sparked intense piracy concerns from European broadcasters.
Unsurprisingly.
They were furious because VPNs are famously used by fans to bypass geo-restrictions, and stream games for free from other countries by masking their location.
It's one of their main consumer use cases,
Right.
frankly.
Right. So you have FIFA officially partnering with the very tool that their own broadcasters claim undercuts their multi-million-dollar television rights. The irony of that partnership is just off the charts.
It's definitely a bold move by FIFA.
But looking at this whole trend of sports partnerships, it feels like we're watching the digital equivalent of the seatbelt.
A seatbelt.
Yeah, when seatbelts were first invented, they were this niche safety feature designed exclusively for race cars and professional drivers.
Right, everyday people didn't use them.
Exactly. And now they are just a standard, unquestioned requirement for driving down the street to pick up groceries.
It's a fair comparison.
But let me push back on this a little bit. Is this just a logo on a jersey? Does slapping a cybersecurity brand on a football pitch or putting it in a Marvel comic book actually change real-world user behavior? Or is it just like empty corporate synergy?
Well, this raises an important question about how we achieve mass adoption of essential technologies.
Okay.
Because the truth is, these partnerships are fundamentally about education and normalization.
Normalization, making it boring.
Basically, for a very long time, cybersecurity has suffered from a terrible image problem.
Oh, absolutely. The guy in a hoodie in a dark room.
Right. It's been viewed as intimidating, filled with dense IT jargon like packet sniffing and zero trust.
Guilty as charged for using those today.
We all do it.
Yeah.
But it's generally perceived as something only huge corporations or highly technical people need to worry about.
Which is no longer true.
Exactly. So by bringing cybersecurity into stadiums, offering it as a perk with a credit card, or weaving it into the narrative of a comic book, these companies are actively dismantling that psychological barrier.
They're making it accessible.
Yes. They are transforming online privacy from a complex, frustrating chore into an accessible, everyday household concept.
That makes total sense.
When a fan sees a trusted institution like their favorite football club or a brand like Marvel actively endorsing data protection, it validates the necessity of the tool.
It's social proof.
Exactly. It tells the average consumer that securing their digital connection is just as normal and expected as locking the front door of their house.
So what does this all mean? If we look at the whole picture we've painted today, the speed of the digital world is accelerating way beyond human scale.
Without a doubt.
We started with AI systems that can find, fuzz, and weaponize a zero-click Zoom hack in less than 24 hours, proving that perfectly patched software is basically a myth.
Like a total myth at this point.
And that stark realization forces us to accept that our traditional passwords are dead, and that our highly specific, continuous physical behaviors must become our true security perimeters.
The new moat.
Right. And finally, the stakes of protecting those identities have become so universal that tools like VPNs are no longer just for tech enthusiasts. They are as mainstream as the sponsors on a Premier League football jersey. The landscape of digital trust has completely transformed.
It really has. But, as we fully transition into this new era of behavioral security, I want to leave you with something to consider.
Okay, lay it on us.
If AI is learning to hack our software systems in under a day, and our own network systems are learning to constantly monitor our microscopic physical behaviors to verify who we are,
Yeah.
at what point does the machine know our digital identity better than we know ourselves?
Oh, wow.
Think about it. What happens when you just have a weird, out-of-character day?
Like you're just off your game.
Right. Maybe you're stressed, you slept poorly, you had way too much caffeine, you're rushing through tasks differently, hitting the keys a little harder than usual,
Yeah.
and your own computer decides that you are the imposter.
Wow. That is a truly wild thought. You could literally get locked out of your own life just because you had an extra espresso and typed a little too fast.
It's a real possibility.
It really makes you wonder who is actually in control of the keys anymore. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week on Calm Coding. We'll be back next week with another discussion to help you make sense of the noise, keep your software updated, and watch your digital footprint.